chance to pull on the shirt. The chance to walk out in front of thousands. The chance to play professional football. It will always be a fantasy for most of us, but now the opportunity to fulfill a boy's own ambition is about to become reality. At stake, 2 places in the first-team squads at Swindon and at Leyton Orient. For a whole year.
You want to play football, you want to play football, you want to play pro.
You're thinking, this is what I want, you know, this is my dream.
I can't really emphasise how much I want this, to play professional football.
Those that have that extra level of dedication will come through if they believe in themselves, but they still have to be given the chance.
More than 5,000 amateur and non-league players have answered a call to win a pro contract. But the only way they can do that is to impress some of the country's leading scouts and talent spotters.
In the drills, they had what we were looking for, but then they were very quiet in the game.
Up and down the land, Swindon and Leyton Orient are leaving nothing to chance, setting up an exhaustive series of skills assessments, then matchday trials and physical and mental tests. And for the last few standing will come a boot camp with the first-team squads at each club.
Every young boy's dream of professional football, so it's a really good stepping stone for that.
Working full-time to be a footballer would be just amazing.
At the end of all that, only 2 very lucky and very talented young men will be worthy to wear the shirt of 2 very proud professional teams.
They can never say, I didn't have a chance.
The process is in its 3rd year. Last year, only Swindon were involved. It was Chris Smith from Stoke, a baker's son, who got a phone call which changed his life.
Yeah, the phone starts ringing. So I look down at the phone and it's an unknown number. So I answer it. And it was Paolo Di Canio, so I knew this was it. So I was just sort of like thinking, oh no, what's he going to say?
This is Paolo Di Canio from Swindon. Your new manager, how do you feel?
Oh my God. Yes! It took me a couple of seconds to sort of like process the information. I was just sort of like, what? Was that me? Was I get the wrong number? Or and then I was just sort of clicked what had happened and I was just ecstatic. It was absolutely brilliant. When you're that happy, you see your family that happy as well, it just makes it all that sort of worthwhile. It is amazing. Sometimes you have to sort of like pinch yourself to see if, you know, it is actually happening. You know, from semi-pro level to professional level, it is a massive step, not just like physically, but mentally as well. Well, when I was at Stone Dominoes, I used to play in front of about, on a good day, I don't know, maybe 100, I'm not too sure. Well, obviously, I mean, last year we were getting up to about 10,000 every week. It's been brilliant, and you know, I wouldn't change it for the world.
So this time, how does a life-changing event get underway when more than 5,000 apply? Each contender is being scrutinised very carefully. First, their CVs have been sifted. Even on the written page, many players are standing out. Their careers already show that many have spent time at academies and in top-flight non-league teams. Next come the skills sessions. They've been held right round the country.
First things first, boys, well done to all of you. OK, we've had over 5,000 applications for this competition and only 360 lads have been selected, depending on their background in football and other aspects. So, well done, you're obviously part of those 360.
Leyton Orient's top man, who will ultimately give a contract to just 1 lucky player, is already scrutinising the talent.
We're looking at the technique at this moment in time, looking at the passing, looking at the dribbling skills.
Hopefully, I think I did enough in the first part of the match. The first drill, the nerves got to me because of the occasion. The other 2, I was fairly comfortable.
You know, I've laid it all out today. I think the drills were good. You know, gave the ball away a few times and I was disappointed with, but other than that, no, it was, thought I'd done all right.
How many are you finding are like having like a second goal, if you like, got released, say by Man City?
Yeah.
But he done it at pace and he did keep it under a decent control as well.
Yeah. It was challenging, but I think I've done good. Hopefully that was enough for the scouts.
We put a few question marks on a couple of players in there. There was a big guy, centre forward, he, for me, will go through and hopefully see him in the 11v11. In the drills, they had what we were looking for, but then they were very quiet in the game.
Lots of honest endeavour. The effort and concentration and work ethic is very, very good. Lots of talking, they're all wanting to do well. Just looking for that player that's got the head on his shoulders, that probably keeps it a little bit simpler than the others, not overcomplicating it. Making the right decisions, you're looking for players to make the right decisions all the time as well.
The idea is the brainchild of a passionate football fan who also had the means to make a difference.
4 years ago, I was watching Swindon versus Fulham in an FA Cup game. And on the pitch was a lad called Charlie Austin. Charlie Austin was a player that had been released by Reading at a young age, made his name in the lower league. Swindon had bought him from Poole Town. Charlie came to Swindon, scored a phenomenal amount of goals in his first season, and went on to be sold for in excess of £1 million. We were sat at that game and thinking there must be a number of players out there that get released early that just need that second chance, that second opportunity.
Austin's second opportunity had looked such a remote possibility when he was released from Reading at 16. He was kicking around lower non-league clubs, working as a brickie for his dad, when a Swindon scout got what seemed like a no-hope assignment.
There I was, I went off to Poole Town, very much like the pitch that we're looking at behind us here, a park pitch, roped off. But the lad I had to watch scored 6 goals in this particular game.
The lad turned up for pre-season training. We had no idea of his pedigree, and the first season he scored God knows how many goals for us, and then let's say the second season, which really made his name, I think he scored 46 in 30, and people were looking at, all sorts of clubs are coming and looking at him.
I put my head on the block, if you like, and I said, bearing in mind this was quite a lower league standard that was playing, I think we should get him in.
The success that happened at Swindon was unbelievable, and we're all very, very proud of him.
So the concept was made that we could go out there and find these young talented players that needed a second opportunity and put them in front of lower league clubs, and that's how Win a Pro contract was born.
There is another Charlie Austin out there. Whether it's this one or whether it's out there behind me now, I don't know. But Charlie, you've got a lot to answer for.
So how many Charlie Austins have been lost to the game? It's a problem which is taxing footballing brains, especially at St George's Park, the FA's new state-of-the-art training centre.
It's a judgment, and I know, having been involved in running Ipswich over the years, what a heart-searching job it is, having to try and get down to the right numbers, the right number of people, and what you have to tell the unlucky ones who are out.
To put the talent drain into perspective, these Swindon teenage young pros have barely begun their careers. There's 6 of them in the room. They've got scholars or apprentice deals for a couple of years. But the current stats say only 1 of these 6 will still be playing professional football in their 20s. That's a major concern for the Players' Own Union, the PFA. Ifianura is one of their tutors who explains the realities of the profession. He really knows how hard it is to find a way in when your teens are behind you.
I think it's not easy, and I'm speaking to someone who came into the game late, relatively at 21. Having done a college degree, and it isn't easy. It's more luck than judgment, certainly at that age.
In fact, these glorious moments might have never come to pass because even a Premier League god admits he didn't start well. As a Guernsey teenager, Matt Le Tissier's pro career may have come and gone after his first attempt at pro life at Oxford.
Here he is, Matt Le Tissier!
I think I had 2 days at the new school, and I'd had enough. It was too soon for me to leave home. It was all too much for me, and I got homesick, and I went back to Guernsey.
Too much, it's being argued, relies on the fate of right time, right place to generate new English talent. The FA says their new HQ will soon deliver a crop of coaches which will take luck out of the equation.
We also want to increase the number of highly qualified coaches throughout the pyramid. So throughout the grassroots of the game, if you do fall out of an academy, age 17, 18, you're unlucky enough not to be selected, that you then fall back into an amateur part of the pyramid where there are still qualified coaches.
But right now, Orient Swindon's search for a pro is one of the very few ways back, and only perhaps for the toughest mentally.
Judgments are made at kind of 18, 19 years of age, and that's kind of a judgment that's made on you, and then that's it for the rest of your football career. You are then considered not good enough, and that's a big blow to the individual. And you've got to have a lot about you as an individual to actually come back from that and go, hang on a minute, they might not think I'm good enough, but maybe I'll just drop down a league, maybe drop down 2 leagues and try my luck again. And to come back at that level with the same amount of confidence takes a lot. You know, after being rejected, being told that you weren't quite good enough, you know, it takes a strong man to come back and do that again.
Here are 2 players whose mental toughness and true grit have never been in question. Their story is coming up next.
When I was playing once and they were like a snake just popped up and looking at me, and I'm thinking, oh no, I better run that way with the ball now instead of that way.
Plus the scouts debate, but who's caught their eye? Who will make the cut?
It was all 1 foot, but it was stood out by my game. His finishing was superb. His good touch, good vision.
Got him down as a maybe.
And which phone call from the organisers spells the end of the road? And which spells the continuation of this chance of a lifetime?
Hello.
More than 5,000 amateur and non-league players have signed up for the chance to be scouted by Leyton Orient and Swindon. At stake, a full first-team pro contract for the whole of next season. The first hurdle began with several 6-a-side and skills sessions, but now the process has reached the sharp end. 11-a-side, that's where the pro contract journey now heads, and again the cut is harsh. From those 5,000 applicants, there are now just 88 left, who will travel to full-scale trial matches in the north and the south of the country. And among the talented elite, one has arrived by way of Australia.
We'll basically start off playing in Australia as a junior and all the way through, and just decided there was nothing really there for me and I needed to explore my options overseas.
Also heading to the Northern Trials, Lewis Baker. He's the one Scottish representative.
I'm sure you haven't won a sausage.
No, don't tempt me.
Here with his dad, taking on fuel for the biggest game of his life.
To win a professional contract, you know, at any club, to be given the opportunity to do that would just be phenomenal.
It's a train ride for Gary Fruin to the Southern Trial. Injury has seen him lose out at Reading.
Well, you can never really say it's your last chance when you look at people like Stuart Pearce and stuff like that, and Ian Wright getting there at sort of 23, 24 from non-league football. I wouldn't say it is my last chance, but who knows? Football's a sport you don't know what's around the corner, really.
Joe Noakes and his dad hope history is on their side. His grandfather played for West Ham and Portsmouth.
The things he did teach me, look, just going over the field, dribbling. I remember him always saying, keep it close to you, loads of little touches. And things like that just stick with me.
It's just a quick trip across town for Manchester's Naya Bayunu.
Feeling good, feeling ready. A tiny bit nervous, but I get like that before every game.
You are?
Yeah, I'm gone.
All right, good luck.
Thank you, I'll see you later.
Hello.
Auntie's driving? Mum's not far behind.
So it's just joyful, actually, just watching how he is physically and mentally as a player. I just love it.
But few have been on the journey experienced by Riza Dani.
Keep going.
Just for once, he's a spectator at his Saturday pub-side top-of-the-table clash. Sitting it out because he's got a date at Hyde on the outskirts of Manchester. Orient and Swindon scouts taking notes. But few attending here learnt their skills in conditions faced by Risa.
It was sandals on rocks. When I was playing once and they were like a snake just popped up and looking at me, and I'm thinking, oh no, I better run that way with the ball now instead of that way.
Then war wrenched the Balkans apart. His family were thrown into a refugee camp.
We came to England through Red Cross. It were, you don't really. It's difficult really because it were harsh stuff. It were hard stuff to take in. You know what I mean?
They came here to Blackburn, and Risa has returned to the pitch where he first played football.
Brings a lot of memories. Like I said, I mean, you remember. I remember some of the tackles, even still to this day, because obviously it was my first ever game.
When he came to this pitch, he didn't know the language, had no friends, but football would change Risa's life in England when he scored his first and a winning goal for West End FC.
It was instant, and I just went, headed it, and see where the rusties, that's where exactly it hit, exact spot. And I've just got loads of these lads coming up to me, and they're all tapping and saying, well done, get in. It'll always be in my heart, that goal.
After his journey, winning a pro contract would mean the world.
I'm mad about it, mad. Can't describe really, can't really explain how much I want it really.
It's up to Risa. He has 90 minutes to demonstrate that desire to the Swindon and Orient scouts.
You get out wide, okay, and try and get in behind, move on the ball, and these two breaking through. I'll tell you, you'll score loads of goals, mate, honestly. Your pace, okay? Just be a bit more composed.
You're just looking at anything in an individual that sparks something, and then that shows that they've got natural ability.
Zubair Halim's journey started in Kent. He was a standout player in the skills examinations there. A former UK Asian Player of the Year, he gets a big tick from the scouts.
And there's also a guy that I've not seen before, and for me, he was a standout. And for me, he would be a definite yes. I look forward to seeing him in the next round. That was number 4 for the Oranges, yes.
So you had a fractured bone in your spine?
I did, yeah. The L1 was really crushed and went into my spinal.
Sure.
But while he's been waiting for a chance to shine on a full-size pitch, Zubair's got his hands full with the day job.
And you find your exercise tolerance is improving as well?
Oh, much better, yeah.
He's a physio with the Royal London Hospital's acute trauma team. Mr. Levine was knocked down by a lorry. He's lucky to be alive with multiple injuries, including a fractured spine.
We see a great deal of trauma patients, ranging from stabbings, shootings, road traffic accidents. That's it. If you want to try and stand as tall as possible, fantastic, good man. For a lot of us in the competition, we see it as a life and death kind of thing. We need to get this contract. Whereas then I come in the work the next day and somebody's been walking around how they normally would be, and they've had a car accident and their life's in danger. So for me, that kind of puts everything in perspective for me.
Will Zubair's philosophical view be required as the 88 standing are culled again?
When the only thing I'll say is when you try and take too many players, I know you're good enough to do it, but when you try and take too many players on, that's when you're getting caught at ball. You're good enough, hold it off, set it, your pace, get in the box, get a shot. Okay, you can get so many more goals.
The scouts decide they need to sleep on it before making life-changing decisions.
Well, I mean, what I was saying is I'd rather just go away and just sort of think about the thing and just compare some of the ages against what I've seen.
Yeah, I guess going away, if you can kind of narrow it down so maybe you get an 11, if you like, from the first game, so kind of one left back, one right back, pick a from the 22 and the same maybe with the second.
But in the cold light of day, the die is cast. The event organisers have momentous phone calls to make. Will a walk in the park be good news for Gary Fruin? Joe Noakes is in a college lesson when he gets the call.
Hello?
Oh, is that Gary?
It is, yeah. Yeah, good, thanks.
Unfortunately, Gary, it's bad news, I'm afraid. You've not been selected to go through to the semi-final.
Right.
I mean, it is key to say, Gary, that the standard this year has been very, very high. And the scouts are very impressed with all the players on show. But just on this occasion, unfortunately, you haven't made it through.
All right, then, cheers for that. All right, bye. So yeah, didn't make it through to the next round. Just said obviously it's a very high standard this year.
Obviously, Joe, following your quarter-final, we've heard back from the scouts now from Leyton Orient and Swindon Town. And I'm pleased to say, mate, you are one of the 22 that they've selected, so you're through to the semi-final.
All right then, thanks for that. Cheers, bye. I'm in.
Yeah, a happy lad, certainly, so yeah, always nice to do those ones.
Cheers, boys. Cheers, mate.
Noakes through, Fruin is out. Also gone, Naya Bayunu and Tom Cavell. But this Scottish dad and son will make plans for another trip south to Swindon for the round of 22. And Risa and Zubair both fail at this hurdle, but not without a final word for those who will win.
My advice would be grab it with both hands. You don't really know how lucky you are. There's millions of kids around the world who would die for an opportunity to be a professional footballer.
How do you think our lads will shape up as pros? Do you think you've got what it takes? Find out what's happening this year if you want to follow the football dream. Have your say right now on Facebook at Samsung Football and on Twitter at #ProContract. Next time, only 3 will make it to the very final stage, a week's boot camp at both clubs. Who are the trio who will get so close to fulfilling their boyhood dreams? But whose chances could be dashed as injury strikes? While Paolo Di Canio rails at the world and walks from Swindon, how will that affect the final few? The chance to pull on the shirt. The chance to walk out in front of thousands. The chance to play professional football. It will always be a fantasy for most of us, but now the opportunity to fulfill a boy's own ambition is about to become reality. At stake, 2 places in the first team squads at Swindon and at Leyton Orient. For a whole year.
You want to play football, you want to play football, you want to play pro.
You're thinking, this is what I want, you know, this is my dream.
I can't really emphasise how much I want to play professional football.
Those that have that extra level of dedication will come through if they believe in themselves, but they still have to be given the chance.
More than 5,000 amateur and non-league players have answered a call to win a pro contract. But the only way they can do that is to impress some of the country's leading scouts and talent spotters.
In the drills, they had what we were looking for, but then they were very quiet in the game.
Up and down the land, Swindon and Leyton Orient are leaving nothing to chance. So far, we've seen the battery of skills tests and trial matches which the players have endured. The numbers have been cut at each stage.
Unfortunately, Gary, it's bad news, I'm afraid. You've not been selected to go through to the semi-final.
Right. There are now just 22. And we'll see how 22 will be reduced to just 3. 3 very lucky and very talented young men, who Leyton Orient and Swindon will take on trial for a week with their first team squads, to really see who's got pro potential.
They can never say, I didn't have a chance.
The prize is getting so much closer. And those remaining have been brought together at Swindon. The Scottish flag is still flying with Lewis Baker. The last few words of encouragement from Dad.
You've done all the work. You're ready to go. Just enjoy the game now. Yeah. How you feel?
Yeah, just want to get out there, basically. Show them what I can do. Yeah.
Do your best. That's all you can do. Just enjoy it.
From Portsmouth, centre-half Joe Noakes is unlike most others here. He's never spent any time with the top clubs as a junior.
Well, just go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Make the most of it. Cool.
We've gone down from over 5,000 players down to just 22 lads now. So you have obviously done absolutely brilliantly to get to this stage already.
They're split into two 11-a-side teams to face off against each other.
Josh in here, number 9.
Another survivor is Jack Sherratt, who meets an old teammate from his college days outside Stoke. And Chris Smith just happens to be last year's pro contract winner here at Swindon.
The only thing I can say is, you know, make sure you work as hard as possible. Don't leave anything out on the pitch. Take away as much as you can and play your normal game. Just enjoy it. Stay relaxed, but work as hard as you can, and that's the main thing. And that's sort of what I did.
The opportunity this event provides fits perfectly with the beliefs of one of the UK's most famous sports impresarios. Barry Hearn, boxing and darts promoter, the man who put snooker on the world stage, and Leyton Orient chairman for close to 2 decades.
It's every kid's dream to play professional football, isn't it? You know, whether we want to be a train driver or a fireman or a policeman when we grow up. Reality today, they want to be professional footballers. It's about supply and demand as well. There are tens of thousands of kids who have the athletic ability to be a footballer. But only a very small proportion of those will ever make it through, and you ask yourself why. The whole of the football industry is fundamentally flawed as a business anyway. You know, we're sitting there importing players from all around the world instead of looking at our local talent. You know, what a waste of money. Instead of investing at local level to create superstars, we're buying in a finished product. Very short-term opportunism. But a lot of great quality players are lost because of a million different reasons. They weren't in the right place at the right time, but this applies to everything in life, not just football. So the resilient, those that have that extra level of dedication, will come through if they believe in themselves.
Be comfortable going a little bit higher up the pitch, otherwise they're conceding too much ground. The back four and the midfield four just extend so much, there's too much space.
Then, of course, you know, you have that one wonderful game where everyone goes, we found a star. You can't buy moments like that, can you? When you walk off the pitch with your head held high, you've made a contribution to the team. You've done something that's affected the result. And what you've done, incidentally, is changed your life as well.
One player's perseverance and skill is catching the eye. Claudio Hoban has come closest already to becoming a full-time professional. Arriving from Romania at the age of 12, Leicester City soon took an interest, only letting him go at 18.
Like, for me, I don't really see myself doing anything else rather than football. I just love football so much that I just have to do it.
You have a very distinctive way you play. You love the ball at your feet. So what does it feel like?
Well, you feel like when you do it and it works, you feel like you want to smile. Yeah, you get joy from it.
He's been on the scouts' notepad since the very start of the pro contract search. And with only 22 still left here at Swindon, he's found another admirer.
Hoban, blue number 10. Got good quality, good time on the ball, tempo, you know, intelligent.
For Leyton Orient's top man, his pick is a midfielder so far, Naby Diallo.
It's quite clear to see that the 14 in blue has run the much of the show from, particularly in the first half, and here he goes again, look, and he's linked up with the 9 who we've just switched over in the blue. So those two have caught my eye a little bit.
It feels good. It just gives you a drive, you know. And look at all this facility here, and you know you want to turn up here, you want to play here. So it's a good incentive.
But Naby has one regret, because his brother didn't make it through the last pro contract round.
We always used to play together, even before we joined clubs, back gardens and that. Mum used to just hate it because grass, we should ruin it every time. And well, I just pretty much followed in his footsteps. Whatever he did, I just tried to copy him.
It's going to be difficult though, narrowing it down. But that's what we've got to do. We've got to get it to that last 11, and hopefully we choose the right 11 for Brisbane Road.
The two managers are now picking through every scrap of information and gut feeling to narrow 22 down to just 11.
Can you do that, Tom?
I think, again, he was one that stood out more in his quarter-final.
They've got most every part of the jigsaw complete, but not every piece. They won't make a snap decision. It's too important. Time then to dwell on it and leave the players with these words.
Fellas, we both enjoyed the game. Fabulous game. Lots of enthusiasm and effort. It's absolutely incredible. We're going to sit down and we're going to try get it down to those 11 players. And look, if you're not one of those fortunate ones, one of those lucky ones to be selected, then maybe next time, don't give up. Don't give up. Go back to your clubs, or if you're not at a club, go and play at the highest level that you possibly can.
Lads, obviously our job is to select, 11 players, but like Russell said, keep going with your passion, your enthusiasm, because there is talent, there is quality. Even I don't know who's gonna be in the 11. You have to keep going and dream.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Old fashion. Okay.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
Well done.
Still to come, 22 is reduced to 11, who will have to be at their best against serious opposition.
There's a mixture of first team, reserve team and youth team. Really good test for all the boys, but obviously they want to see you against their own players to get a real good idea of the level everyone's at.
And who will catch the manager's eye?
Those boys will spend a week with yourselves.
Yeah.
And then they can come in and spend a week with the O's.
More than 5,000 have started out on a journey. This event is attempting to uncover fresh, new talent which was missed or discarded by the pro clubs when they were juniors. Along the way, they've been tested for their skill and their match temperament. There have been many stages, and many have been cut. At stake are two precious, full professional contracts, one at Leyton Orient, the other at Swindon Town. With 22 left at a trial match at Swindon, it's been the club's two managers who've personally been making the decisions. And this is the final 11 they've selected, who meet up again at Leyton Orient for an even harder examination of their abilities. Among them, Jack Sherratt, an England schoolboy international from Cheshire. Naby Diallo from Bristol. He stood out in the semi. Kayden Jackson's outright pace has won admirers. So too Claudio Hoban's ball skills. Rhys Hewitt has taken the eye. But another striker, Lewis Baker, the only Scotsman to reach the latter stages, has not made it to this final shakedown. The last 11 now comprises one player selected for each position, and they have their work cut out.
So there's a mixture of so first team, reserve team and youth team. Okay, so it'll be really good test for all the boys, but obviously they want to see you against their own players to get a real good idea of the level everyone's at. Okay.
The last 11 also include the walking wounded. Claudio Hoban, the Romanian who lives in Northampton, has broken his hand just days before the trial. Now the physios are assessing if he can take the field.
I didn't know it was that bad.
I'm alright.
Yeah. It just feels weird now when it's out.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The main thing for us is just to immobilise the wrist joint, give the joint a little bit of support. It's not going to mend it by any means, but if we can just immobilise the joint, relieve his pain a little bit and just get him through the game, then obviously we can take it from there.
The medical staff have done their best and nothing is going to stop Claudio playing after coming so far.
Thank you.
And the same goes for East Londoner Reece Hewitt, who's been involved in a car crash.
So we just parked up in the car park and I just took my seatbelt off, unluckily, and someone come in, hit us from the back, and I sort of went forward, hit the dashboard and the side of the cup holder and cut my head open on a Saturday night, just before the big Wednesday, the big game. So I got 6 stitches, but given the all clear from the doctor, so I'm good to go.
Let go by both West Ham and Preston, Reece already knows what it's like to suffer setbacks.
I've been on so many trials and stuff like that and done well and stayed there for a period of time and then got to a certain stage and not been good enough or had knockbacks, had injuries and stuff like that. But all I can say is that all of them knockbacks have spurred me on to today, and it just gives me more faith and more aggression and more belief in myself that I'm still here today.
His strength, it keeps us going really, because he's so dedicated to it that even when he gets knockbacks, he picks himself up pretty quickly and just focuses on his next goal.
I'm just proud to see my brothers never give up, never ever give up, and he has been through hell and back. It's been hard to watch your brother who you love getting told no, not this time, no, not this time, and for him to just be able to believe in himself and keep fighting is amazing.
I've learned never to give up. I've never ever give up in my life, so I don't plan on starting today. And I've learned footballing wise of what the managers have told me to go away and work on. I think I've worked on, and hopefully it'll show. See you later.
Bye.
Yep.
See you soon.
The tension is rising with so much at stake for the final 11. Only 3 will get the chance to go on to boot camp to train with Orient and Swindon. Only 2 will win the coveted professional contracts. Also increasing is the intricacy of the testing. They're wearing GPS satellite tracking devices to measure how far and where they run throughout the game. There really is nowhere to hide. One of the youngest who's made it through to this final 11 is Joe Noakes. Joe is a student at West Downs College in Hampshire. He combines his studies with a scholars soccer course run in conjunction with the top non-league club, Haventon Waterlooville. The manager, keeping an eye on this young talent, knows rather a lot about life in the leagues. Lee Bradbury, a Man City and Portsmouth player who was also a relatively late starter, with a career in the army coming first.
I joined the army at 16. Just wanted to sort of get away, and I was told that if you're good at a sport, then they look after you in the services, and they were true to their word. They did. I travelled all around Europe playing football for the army and combined services. I was in the Princess of Wales's Royal Regiment and ended up sort of going on tour with them to Portsmouth and the Isle of Wight, and ended up getting a trial at Portsmouth. I was on trial for 10 days, 2 weeks, and they ended up offering me a contract after that, which was fantastic for me. It was always my boyhood dream to be a footballer, and thankfully the army supported that decision, that what I wanted to do, and I became a professional footballer at 20.
Noakes is on this journey for the whole of his family, who are steeped in football life. Grandad played for West Ham, Palace and Portsmouth. And a very young Joe was inspired by his grandfather before his death.
Look, just going over the field, dribbling. I remember him always saying, keep it close to you, loads of little touches, and things like that just stick with me.
Just enjoy it, mate, eh?
Yeah, just go there and enjoy it.
It was like your grandfather was here telling you that, isn't it?
He is. He's watching somewhere, I'm sure. If he's not looking through my eyes, he's looking up there.
It's a cold night in East London here at the Matchroom Stadium. The prize, of course, is immense. With Paolo Di Canio away, assistant manager Fabrizio Picaretta is heading up the Swindon scouting team.
Midfielder, good skills, a good reading of the game, and also a good structure, physical structure.
In terms of effort and endeavour, it's faultless really, but just want somebody now to start making good decisions all the time and perhaps showing that little bit of spark.
The two strikers are very good, especially one is young, has got pace.
Looking good. Yeah.
You keep the tempo.
Proud of you. Front two. Want the ball to stick more. All right. I want the ball to stick more. We've got the goal, by the way. I'm unbeaten, you know.
At the half-time get-together, Fabrizio and Russell are already narrowing the field.
Yes, question mark there. No one plays on the same night.
Second half. Now there's just 45 minutes to make an impact. 45 minutes to win selection into the last three of pro contract. The final whistle goes. As a team, they've given a serious Leyton Orient 11 a run for their money, narrowly beaten by 3-2.
Did yourselves proud.
But it's just a handful who will progress. Russell and Fabrizio are very clear about who's made an impact.
Okay then, so we agree on those, and those boys will spend a week with yourselves.
Yeah.
And then they can come in and spend a week with the O's.
Time to tell an expectant dressing room, where there will be joy for 3 players, heartbreak for 8 more.
Fellas, you've done fantastic. Great commitment out there, all 11 of you. And you know what a journey it's been for yourselves. It's been hopefully a good journey, but we're down to the 11 now. And obviously, we've been speaking closely over the 2 games, really, the game at Swindon and the game tonight. All right, so what we've done is we've got it down to 3. And the 3 players are going to spend a week at Swindon and a week at Leyton Orient. And the 3 players that we selected, and I know there's going to be disappointment tonight, but the 3 players are as follows. Jack Sherritt, number 4. Kayden Jackson, number 9. And Claudio Hoban, number 10. They're the 3 boys that will be asked to come into Swindon for a week and to Leyton Orient. Congratulations to you 3. Commiserations to the rest of you. Sorry, fellas. It's about making decisions, and that's what we've made. Well done, boys, to all of you. Congratulations.
It's a team of 11 in this changing room, but there are very different emotions being held in for very different reasons right now. Handshakes for the winners. Such a sporting gesture at a moment of such disappointment.
Nearly cried then when they were asking me how I feel. So go away to our mum and dad.
They called out Jack Sherritt, and then they called out Kayden Jackson. Oh my gosh.
Proud of him.
Proud of him, yes.
Proud of him. Well, proud of him. From 10 years old, I knew he had something, and yeah.
How do you feel, Mum?
Proud, yeah, very proud. AP wins now.
I can't believe it. It's good.
I've always wanted
to be a footballer. And when you get people like that, well, Russell Slade and Di Canio believing in you, it gives you that self-belief. Just can't wait for the next trial now.
How do you think our lads will shape up as pros? Do you think you've got what it takes? Find out what's happening this year if you want to follow the football dream. Have your say right now on Facebook at Samsung Football and on Twitter at #ProContract. Next time, boot camp won't pull any punches.
If you want to make it as a footballer, you've got to be a little bit better than the man next to you.
And rubbing shoulders with the tight-knit team. How will they fit in?
There they are, the three starlets. Which one is it going to be?
The chance to pull on the shirt. The chance to walk out in front of thousands. The chance to play professional football. It will always be a fantasy for most of us, but now the opportunity to fulfill a boy's own ambition is about to become reality. At stake, 2 places in the first-team squads at Swindon and at Leyton Orient. For a whole year.
You want to play football, you want to play ball, you want to play pro.
You're thinking, this is what I want, you know, this is my dream.
I can't really emphasise how much I want to play professional football.
Those that have that extra level of dedication will come through if they believe in themselves, but they still have to be given the chance.
More than 5,000 amateur and non-league players have answered a call to win a pro contract. But the only way they can do that is to impress some of the country's leading scouts and talent spotters.
In the drills, they had what we were looking for, but then they were very quiet in the game.
As each round has passed, the level of ability has gone up, while the numbers have decreased. Eventually, just 11 remained, whose battling performance against an Orient team drew praise from the experts. But only 3 of the final 11 would be awarded precious places at boot camp, a fortnight session playing with the professionals at Leyton Orient and Swindon. All this as Paolo Di Canio and his team walk out of Swindon. The final decision will be in the hands of a new team in charge.
You're watching them all the time because you want to pick the best players.
As much as I'm doing it for me, I'm doing it for my family as well.
Off the pitch, we're all getting on very well, but deep down it's dog eat dog, isn't it, really? If you want it, you got it. There's no friends in football.
For these young men, a life-changing moment. This is their story. It's these 3, Jack Sherritt, Kayden Jackson, Claudio Hoban, who are now in competition for just 2 contracts, starting with an almost forensic physical and mental examination.
And all you're going to do is with that on the bout, you're going to come up, step over, plant and come back.
Tests here at Solent University will expose any frailties. And the last is the infamous VO2 max.
Let's go! Push it! Push it! Push it! Push it! Push it! Push it! Come on, Jack! Come on!
We essentially tailor the testing procedures to meet the demands that they're wishing to place on the players or what they think they want to measure.
All I'm going to ask you to do is 7 tests. We just look at your movement patterns, okay? Look and see if we can identify any sort of asymmetries, any dysfunction. And relax. Excellent.
We're just measuring his body composition, so we're just taking skin fold measurements to give us an indication of sort of how much body fat he has.
Their speed of thought, field of vision and reaction times, they're all being examined.
Hi. Yeah. I've got the best field of vision, but Jack tracks the ball better than me, so... So this tells us a lot more than just reaction times. It tells me how you handle pressure and how you cope with mistakes and how well you bounce back after something goes wrong.
An interested spectator has dropped in. Matt Letitia, the Southampton goal-scoring legend.
Never had anything like that. I mean, it's just moved on so much since I've retired. I mean, it's been 11 years now since I've retired. and the technology that's come into the game since then has been incredible. I'm probably pleased there wasn't quite as much technology around back then, because I think all this pro zone and stuff would have just showed up just how little I ran in a football match.
If you scored, it doesn't matter.
That's what I would have told them.
My words to them would be, this will probably be your only chance. Take it, seize it every single day of it, and play every day on the training field as though it was a cup final. And if you take that attitude into it, then you'll have a great chance.
Right attitude is what they need right now, because final measurements are being taken for the last and most formidable part of the day. It's called the VO2 max.
This is so we can monitor Jack's expired air. If you just hold that on for me, Jack's great, thank you. From that we can work out how much he's actually taking in. And that's essentially to see how hard he's working, so it's part of the fatigue. The latter stages essentially of a football game, and that's when he really starts to feel it. The pain kicks in, and there's a slow demise of how well he feels, and then eventually what happens is he'll stop exercising.
Basically, you run till you drop. That's why the lads are tethered to the machine, literally. Jack gets the short straw, he's first up.
Go! Come on, drive now, full out sprint! Arms, where your arms! Come on, arms again! Arms again! Arms again! Go on! Keep going! Keep going! Easy stuff, come on! Keep going! Let's go! Come on, Kayden!
You don't look too good, does it?
3, 2, 1, hands and feet! Keep going, Tony, let's go, come on! Keep pushing! 60, 60 minutes! Say when?
Good. Yes, see my limits. So.
The day's results have been collected. Now they're sealed and sent to the managers and sports scientists at Leyton Orient and Swindon. The biggest footballing fortnight of their lives is almost here. In preparation, Jack needs new boots, but he's been caught by the family on camera. The price tag is still on them. That's how eager he is to try them out. The boots he packs, staying on the wall in his Cheshire home, is a reminder of his soccer past, the framed shirt marking his selection for England schoolboys. He's also lived with the hurt of rejection at Port Vale Academy.
I actually said to my dad, I'm going to prove him wrong, because it is frustrating when you get told to the start of the season you're doing well, keep it up, and you're on target, and then you find out to the end of the season that it didn't quite work out.
Late one very wet night in East London, Jack arrives at his digs for part of his boot camp experience. There, he meets up with the two other contenders in competition for two precious, life-changing contracts.
It's Claudio and Jack's room. Yeah. Claudio getting plenty of rest on his knee.
Kayden Jackson has been given the once-over by clubs like Bradford and Leeds, but no one has committed themselves yet. Perhaps this will be different.
It's been quite frustrating a few times, especially when I was when I was at Leeds and Blackburn, because I didn't really think they'd give me the opportunity. I played in 1 or 2 games, but not as much as I'd like. So it's been frustrating, but I just hope that with this opportunity that they see enough of me, and hopefully I get the contract.
Claudio Hoban is the eldest. He came so close to pro football at Leicester City, only being released after his scholars or apprentice contract had finished at 18.
For me, I don't really see myself doing anything else rather than football. I just love football so much that I just have to do it.
Living in club digs or in hotel rooms, it's all part of the experience being tested during boot camp. At Orient, Cheryl Cashket and her family have really made it home from home.
Yeah, they fit in, don't they? I've got to, I think when you've got a certain amount, what's a few more?
But the lads have had some time to remember life away from this football pressure cooker. It's coming up to Valentine's Day. Kayden goes shopping.
What are you doing? Getting a card for your missus.
The trio are now in the heart of the communities where they hope to earn a living. And that relationship is fundamental for the Leyton Orient chairman.
Why are we there? Leyton Orient are very, very unlikely to win the Champions League, in case anyone's mistaken. We're very unlikely to win the FA Cup. We're very, very unlikely to become a Premiership team. We have a dream of winning every game, of course, but we know our role, and our role is within the community. What I like to think is that smaller clubs, like Leyton Orient and like Swindon, are centres of a community. We are an ordinary club for ordinary people trying to provide extraordinary entertainment.
And being a professional player is far more than a job. It's a way of life.
I think a huge part of being a professional sportsman is what goes on between the ears, and determination, confidence, belief, all that kind of stuff. All stuff that you can't see and you can't measure.
And you're not always going to feel at your best. And that's when you've got to shake yourself down, and you've got to have that mental strength, if you like, to go out there and perform to your very, very best.
It's very difficult being a professional footballer. Very difficult. The pressure is on them from day one.
Soon, though, all their footballing dreams are in the balance as boot camp begins in earnest. Still to come, the going gets tough for our trio.
If you want to make it as a footballer, you've got to be a little bit better than the man next to you.
Injury strikes. And it's decision time. 3 calls to make, but only 2 contracts to hand out. More than 5,000 stood up to be counted many months ago, taking up a challenge laid down by Swindon and Leyton Orient to find one player for each club who could join their first team squads straight from non-league or amateur football. Several skills and full-scale trials have taken place. Only 3 players survive and boot camp has begun, with a fortnight of training sessions at both clubs.
They've done well, they've acquitted themselves well, and you know, the players have took to them, so we're going to have a bit of a 4v4 now, see how they do.
Felt like I started off a bit poor, but I grew into the game and grew into the session and did okay.
One major highlight is a trip with Swindon with their head of academy, Paul Bowden, to St George's Park. That's the FA's new multi-million-pound training facility. They're here to play the RAF.
You're going to be up against tough opposition. You know, these army boys, they'll be big, powerful, strong boys. Don't dwell on it. First 20 minutes, 1 or 2 touch. Great opportunity for you to impress. Managers coming up from Swindon, just do what you do. Keep it simple. It's important you do the basics right. If you do the basics right, that stands out a mile.
It's nice here, I can't wait.
You're going to be in the game for the first 20 minutes, let me tell you. Support each other, help each other, good encouragement. OK? Let's go and enjoy it.
With Di Canio's sudden departure, new manager Kevin McDonald has only been in charge a matter of days. But he and assistant Mark Cooper have still made sure they're here to run the rule over the trio.
I do understand where these lads are coming from. I played for Inverness Cali and we played part-time football, and we travelled anywhere up to 100-odd miles to Peterhead, Fraserburgh, Brora, Golspie, Wick, and I worked in the civil service at the time.
The RAF team is drawn from forces who've been on tours of duty across the world. Now they're giving professional football wannabes a serious run for their money.
It's a tough old game. It's a tough old world, lads, trying to make it in the professional world. And you've got to do things better. You've got to be more professional. You've got to keep the ball better. Your pass selection has to be better. Your touch has to be better. If you want to make it as a footballer, you've got to be a little bit better than the man next to you.
How do you think you've done? Like, it's hard, obviously, like, because these guys have been training already, like, day in, day out, and we've come basically from just, I play 2 games a week and train once a week, really. So obviously the there's a big difference at the beginning with sharpness and fitness, but
it's difficult as well when you don't know the players, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they don't know your game, you don't know their game. Trying to get that relationship, that only comes with playing games, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the more games you play, the better you get.
First day at any new organisation can be a daunting prospect. And then there is the unique, hidden from view world of a professional football team. At Orient, the lads have been thrown right in. It's sink or swim. There have been team meetings to attend.
There they are, the three starters. Which one is it going to be? Sweet.
They're here, they're working hard. We can see they're listening like the other pros, and but they're not like hiding as well. So they want to impress, and that's a good thing.
Coming in with a big group of grown men, it's always tough. But no, they've settled in quite well. Full credit to themselves. They've come in and worked hard.
They're doing fine. I mean, the first thing, they're getting used to the speed and the tempo of the training as they're training with the first team players. So they'll find that difficult, but they're doing quite well, and they're certainly playing with great attitude and enthusiasm. So we're pleased with that.
But disaster strikes for Claudio Hoban. He injures his knee during training. It will hamper him throughout the fortnight.
And just for the time being, we're just going to keep him ticking over in the gym, keep his upper body strength up, and keep him fit as possible without stress and injury, really.
I wanted this really bad. Unfortunately, my injury didn't let me.
You don't seem like a guy who gives up, though.
Nah, I don't give up. Never give up.
Praise is very hard won in an outfit like this. After such a serious examination, the trio could not have done better.
Come in. Come in. Boys, come in, come in, come in, come in. Well, fellas, effectively, this is your last day. I hope you've enjoyed the few days that you've had with us. It's given you a big insight into the way a professional football clubs run as well. And that doesn't put you off at all, does it? No, that's good. It's always a sign when the group respond to you, and that you've gone straight in with the first team squad.
It's not easy.
There's no development squad. It's the youthful. It's the first team group, and you've gone straight in there and like mixed in, and they've taken to you, really, haven't they? You know. Yeah. Well done, boys.
Cheers.
Well done, Jack.
Cheers.
Well done, Kayden.
Cheers, Kayden. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Claudio. Okay.
But who will get the two precious contracts?
Obviously, we've had a little look at them for a week, which has been invaluable. They're at a stage of development, so there's still more to come. There's more needs to come in terms of improvement. But it's been a big week for them as well. You have to understand that. Do you know what? They've coped better than what I thought they would.
Had a look at them playing the other day, and we've had a look at them in training. So I'll have a good think about it, talk to Mark and one or two other people who've watched them a bit more, and we'll make a decision on that.
It's the event organiser who has the responsibility to break the news.
Looking forward to giving the good news, and not so much looking forward to giving the bad news.
Proud of him, whatever.
It's been a long journey. Highs and lows. This is the start, isn't it?
Go on, Jack.
Jack.
Hi, Tom,
how are you? Nice to see you.
Thanks.
You alright? How are you? You okay?
Yeah, you?
How you doing? Kayden, how are you? Nice to see you again.
You too.
Okay. Oh yeah, nice to see you, right. I've been given the envelopes from the clubs, so without further ado, I'll hand it over. There's your decision.
Over.
It's Leyton Orient who wants Jack to join them.
Oh, well done, Jack.
Really well done.
Cheers.
There you go. There's your shirt and your squad member.
Claudio is the player who has lost out.
I was expecting that.
So I can't actually believe he hasn't got it.
Yeah.
It's so certain that he's going to get the contract and everything.
But there is an extraordinary turn of events. Both clubs think there is far more from Claudio when he's injury-free. They've both invited him to pre-season training.
Both clubs are wanting to see you again, to give you another chance.
I'm going to be fitter and stronger than I ever was before, so I've started working on it already. I've been going gym twice a day and stuff like that, so yes, I'm going to do it.
Give you your decision.
So it will be good news for Kayden because he's on his way to Swindon.
Go on, who have you got?
Swindon. So you're now a professional footballer for Swindon Town.
Oh, look at that. Oh, my God.
More than 5,000 started out, but it's Jack and Kayden who've won the right to wear the shirt and sign occupation professional footballer.
Just thank you. Thank you very much. Work hard, enjoy yourself, and that's the most important thing.
I've never known you so quiet, Kayden.
I don't really know what to do, to be honest, but I'm just nervous, excited, and just all of that.
Well, that's great. You know, it's great to be excited because when it comes down to it, football's a job, but you've got to be excited about playing it.
Congratulations, Jack. It's well earned. You've worked very hard to get where you've got, and even harder work now. Well done, son. Congratulations.
Cheers.
He's made of the right stuff, and that was important to us, really. If we could have arranged to have had it done and signed him, he might well have been on the bench today. So that's how close that's how close Jack can get to a first team in Division 1 at a club like Leyton Orient. So he's got a fantastic opportunity, and that's why I like about his attitude will be he will strive, he will do everything possible. It won't be through the lack of trying.
They've come so far in the last few months.
Keep going. Easy stuff. Come on.
Now the process has one last very public moment. The two contract winners are announced to the fans of their new clubs.
Please, a big warm hand for Jack Sherratt.
How do you think our lads will shape up as pros? Do you think you've got what it takes? Find out what's happening this year if you want to follow the football dream. Have your say right now on Facebook at Samsung Football and on Twitter at #ProContract.